I enjoy tower defense games, whether that's the classic variety or something that's doing a new variety of tower defense. Ezaron Defense falls firmly into the classic variety. It offers 20 levels for you to go and get that 1 to 3 stars for that perfect run if you can get it, and it does so in a fantasy setting in a 3D world. It's got a few tricks up its sleeve, but then doesn't necessarily do anything with them, and so ultimately Ezaron Defense ends up being a very simplistic tower defense game with a lot of nice polish to it, but ultimately not a really satisfying experience. And I'll explain why. Ezaron Defence's 20 levels are not single screen, they're spread out across a variety, wider than a single screen, but the zooming in and out is actually really limited and quite clunky to deal with, so it kind of makes it a bit of an annoyance to kind of flit your way around the map with ease. The levels are also structured in a way that I feel almost copies the Kingdom Rush series. Now, the Kingdom Rush series is a singular screen, and what Ezaron Defense have kind of blown it up so that it goes wider than your single screen, but it does feel like they've gone, oh, that layout looks tricky, copy paste, and that's a real shame because it negates some of the other stuff that's going on elsewhere. The main problem though with Ezaron Defense is its lack of strategic options, and this comes from the fact that there's only 4 towers to choose from. You start off with an archery tower and then get given a cannon, a magic tower and an electricity tower. These 3 are all upgraded into 3 different tiers, so the first 2 are just kind of like bigger beefy more powerful versions of your tower, and they're kind of unlocked by spending coins, and you collect the coins by killing the enemies in the waves that are coming down the tracks. However, the 3rd and final one at least gives you a decision tree choice, and so say the magic tower lets you have an ice tower or an arcane one, the cannon turns into a mortar tower or like a rocket launcher tower, the electricity one gives you a laser ray, a razor lay, or you can have a kind of pulsating out, I think it's called like a god surge or something, very strange, and you don't really see what it's doing either, which confused me, but yeah, it seems to like radiate some kind of electricity as they go through its sphere of influence. That's all well and good, but because you don't get to place down the towers exactly where you want, they're into specific slots, you're kind of limited with your creative options because you've only got the 4 towers to go for and only a few slots. So by the time you kind of mixed and matched them around, you're kind of done, and you've either done it completely wrong and you've ruined the mission, or you aren't leveled up enough. And that comes into the gating principles of Ezaron Defense, which kind of also annoyed me as well. The first gating one is around research crystals. Now, you have the story mode that's going on. It is flimsy as hell, but what it does do is allow you to collect tools at the end of each level alongside these kind of research crystals. And the tools let you build up your city. So it's nice to see that your city kind of builds in front of you, although it literally is just I've got enough tools, let's build a pub or a windmill or a dock. And then you upgrade it once and then that's kind of it. And they could have done more with that, if I'm honest. But every time you buy a building or you score a star in a level, you get these research crystals, which puts it into your research hub. Now this allows you to then unlock different towers as you go along, which is all well and good. Or different upgrades of the towers, may I say. So it makes them more powerful, it unlocks that final 3rd decision tree choice, and it reduces their cooldown. You can also upgrade the amount of health that you have for each level, whether or not you can regenerate health, and also for mana as well, because you've got a couple of attacks that you can do around poisoning enemies in an area, slowing them down, or you can buff certain towers as well. Those powers are quite useful later on in the game when they're, and I'm going to say it specifically, level 13, there is a massive difficulty jump from absolutely nowhere. And so what that then forces you to do is to go back and replay these other levels. It gives you tools regardless of whether you win or lose. And so you just kind of farm the tools for a couple of goes, and then you've got so many research crystals you can finish off your tree. And so it then negates everything after level 13, becomes a much more of a cakewalk. And so that difficulty bump kind of makes the final third of the game a bit like a drawn out finale that has already reached its conclusion. It's very strange. And I found this quite often actually with Ezaron Defense. Some levels you could go in underpowered and 3-star it, and then other ones it just seems to have not quite balanced out nicely how certain waves come. And that is all around the levels that have got multiple lanes that are coming towards you. So yeah, it's all part of the fun of tower defense. I do feel like there's some balancing issues going on here. But ultimately, the problem with this is that there's only 4 towers, only a few slots to put them in, and so once you've tried them all around, if you've realised you're not underpowered, you just go and farm an early level, which is now super easy because you've already upgraded something, get the 3 stars, shovel on forward. Whilst Ezaron Defense is perfectly serviceable, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it as the best place to start. You've got the defence grid games are absolutely superb. Kingdom Rush, which I feel like this game copies heavily, just not in a single screen format, is also a better choice as well. And perhaps if you're looking for something that's a bit more like comical, Defend Your Life would be a really good example of something that does tower defence in a slightly different format. That's a bit more open to you. So yeah, interesting game, not entirely sold on it, perfectly serviceable. If you really love your tower defense games, there's probably something for you here, but ultimately it's too easy to overcome without the options to keep you amused. Written review will be over on highplanegames.com shortly. Until then, take care. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane-network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.